Meantime, President Biden trying to flip the border issue. The president is considering using sweeping executive authorities to potentially limit asylum access for those who are illegally crossing the border. It's the same authority, by the way, that former President Trump used. That was challenged in courts. The Republican House Speaker, Mike Johnson, not convinced, saying, quote, in an election year after the president has surrendered the border to cartels, the president suddenly seems interested in trying to make a change using legal authority that he claimed until recently did not exist. You all are smirking. Mulvaney, come on in too. What?
Well, I mean, it's just, we don't want to talk about Ukraine funding and Israel funding until you've addressed the border. Okay, well, here's a bill with the border. No, we don't want that. You can't send us that because until the president does everything that he can do with executive power, we're not even going to think about doing anything in Congress. Well, we don't want that either. Like, the getting to yes part of this is pretty. I would say, if you'd have told me a year ago that the Republicans could find a way to give Biden so much cover on the border, I would have said there's no way that they can do it. And yet they continue to impress.
Well, Biden is floating this idea of an executive order that, like you just said, mimics Trump's policies. But you can't both blame Donald Trump for the crisis at the border and then go and try to copy what he did to fix it. So sign the executive order or don't. Really, to me, it doesn't matter because you might as well shred that piece of paper unless Joe Biden suddenly becomes a firm commander-in-chief and enforces the law and truly shuts down the border and forces this illegal immigration, I should add that word in, illegal immigration issue to come to a firm halt. Nothing is going to change. It's truly his posture that's created this problem to begin with.
It also comes at a time you were hearing this news ahead of the State of the Union. And I think you're hearing a lot of chatter from Democrats about how the State of the Union is going to be this reset for Biden to really bounce back in the polls. And I think this immigration chatter and this development could play into that.
I would
okay, Mick, is anyone... Not to use the word right, but like what Chris said, like it's just to follow the tennis ball bouncing back and forth of hypocrisy, is it not?
What Chris said rings true in my ears, which is I never thought I'd see that Republicans actually losing on the border. But keep in mind, they just lost in the special election in New York when the Democrat, Tom Suozzi, actually grasped the border issue and was sort of more to the right than most Democrats are. But Julie's absolutely right. I get the feeling this is teeing up for the State of the Union. And what I'm envisioning now, having watched these speeches, been written a couple times, is there's going to be a couple lines where he says, and as of tonight, I'm doing X, Y, Z on the border, and every Democrat will stand. And they'll use that to try and beat Republicans over the head on the border issue. So you can see this sort of coming. The dominoes are falling. They're going to try and do something aggressive on the border in the speech and see if they can follow up on that success they had in that New York special election by trying to make the border issue theirs. I never thought I'd see it, but I think we might be seeing it now.
You should watch out, though, for the left flank on this.
Okay.
I mean, that's not something to be ignored. They're already voicing opposition and protest.
Yep.
It will be a challenge to unify the party around.
If we think that the State of the Union is going to be Biden's big comeback, I don't think an hour-long speech from Joe Biden is going to be anything of a glowing, resounding, beautiful performance. That's going to be rough.
Before we head to the... Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.